It was until recently totally forbidden, upheld by the Supreme Court, to demonstrate against the war in Arab cities. Only in the last 2-3 weeks it was allowed. Yesterday we had a very good 2 demonstrations against the war, calling for peace, for releasing the hostages, for stopping the bloodshed, for moving forward seriously and profoundly towards ending the occupation, which is the only way to reach just peace and prosperity for the 2 peoples. So the situation, as I said, is very, very dire, very, very grave. First and foremost, of course, in Gaza, which is in total ruins. The total families were ripped out of earth. It's terrible, and the international community don't do anything. By the way, I have to say, attacking President Lula for what he said, once Biden, for instance, and others practically and materially support the ongoing carnage in Gaza, that's, to say the least, hypocrisy.
Mr. Kassif, what do you think would be the Netanyahu government's objective with this carnage, this massacre against the Palestinian people, especially the Gaza Strip? Which would be his strategic goal in this situation?
Look, I said that time and time again since day one. Let's begin with a short history. Everybody knows that before the Hamas massacre of October 7th, the Israeli government tried to carry out a coup d'etat under the sugar-coated term judicial reform. The government actually tried to destroy, to eliminate the judicial system in Israel and to subordinate this system to the government itself. That means full-fledged dictatorship. I would say full-fledged fascist dictatorship. The government failed mostly or mainly because of the huge protests. We were part of it in the streets. But the massacre of 7 October has been used cynically by the government to pursue with the very same objective of the so-called judicial reform. What is this objective? The destruction of the judicial system, the limitation of the media, for instance, the limitation on and the restrictions on civil rights and basic human rights. All those were the means, not the goal. The goal or the end was from the beginning the so-called subjugation plan of Smotrich's. And I explain in short. Bezalel Smotrich, who is one of the worst bigots in Israeli politics in general and in the government in particular, he supports Jewish supremacy. He is a supporter of racial theory, pure and simple. He supports Jewish violence, terrorism against Palestinians. He himself was engaged in terrorism before he was a member of the Knesset. He was arrested during the disengagement plan, suspected in going on his way to apparently commit a terrorist attack. And now he's a finance minister and also a minister in the defense ministry. Now in 2017, he published the so-called subjugation plan, which consists of 3 main components. First, that Israel must annex the all Palestinian occupied territories. Then it was mainly the West Bank. Now he's speaking about the Gaza Strip as well, without granting basic civic and political and human rights to the Palestinians, of course. That means a full-fledged formal apartheid system. The second element in his fanatic, racist, colonialist plan was that those Palestinians who were going to or not going to accept their lot as subjects, as second-class citizens, if no worse than that, they are going to expel by force out of their homeland. And the third element was that those Palestinians who were going to resist their subjugation, they are going to be killed. That was the end of this fanatic fascist government from day one. That was the end of the judicial reform as well. Now they're using the smokescreen of the assault on Gaza, following the massacre by Hamas, in order to pursue with the very same plan. But they use three different strategies according to the consequences of each part of the land. So they commit this continuous massacre in Gaza, and also with the intention of driving Palestinians, as many as possible, out of their homeland in Gaza. Secondly, they've been pursuing ethnic cleansing in the West Bank on a daily basis. Settlers, fanatic racist settlers, on a daily basis, assault with weapon that they got from the state, assault Palestinians, especially pastor communities. 22 Palestinian communities have already perished. They had to flee from their land because of the assault and because of the atrocities that Palestinians carry out against them under the auspices of the occupation forces. We're talking about the size double than Tel Aviv that was ethnically cleansed. And they kill Palestinians. No one has been arrested, let alone tried and put in prison. It is totally legal, practically, to kill Palestinians in the West Bank as a citizen, as a settler. And the third strategy is within Israel, which I mentioned before, political persecution and silencing of any alternative voice, of anyone who raises a voice against the war, calling for peace, especially Arab Palestinian citizens, but also others, like myself, like others. A good friend of mine, a teacher at high school, was fired because he simply posted names and ages and pictures of Palestinians who were killed in Gaza, because in Israel there are only numbers. They have no faces, no names. They are not human, according to the Israeli media, which is totally with the government, apart from individuals here and there. So only because he published this, he was fired from high school. His teaching license was revoked by the education board, and he was arrested, accused in prison. He was released by the court after 4 days. The judge said, "There's nothing there. What are you doing?" There's no reason to even to arrest him. And he's back to work, of course, with all the problems, because he cannot work at the school physically because he's under a serious threat, and he was attacked physically. So he has to teach by recording his classes. That's the situation in Israel now. It resembles, to a great extent, though not totally, the military rules that were in South America during the 70s and 80s, including in Brazil. And the international community mostly doesn't do anything. On the one hand, Biden speaks and even threatens Netanyahu not to get into Rafah. They build now a port by the coast of Gaza in order to supply humanitarian aid, as it were. But at the same time, they sell arms to Israel. So what are you doing? If you want the carnage to be stopped, if you want a peace to prevail, so send arms. And Europe as well, the vast majority of the countries in the world support the ongoing carnage. And I want to say, and I will finish with that, forgive me for being, for speaking in length, but it's from the bottom of my heart. Of course, we are struggling for justice and for stopping the carnage against the Palestinians, but this is also the interest of the Israelis. The government is the enemy of the people of Israel. I'm speaking not against Israel and Israelis. I'm speaking against the government of Israel as an opposition member, because I do care for my compatriots, and I do care for my society. In order for the Israeli society to prosper and survive, in order for my compatriots, the Israelis, Jews, Palestinians, and others to flourish, we must stop not only the war, we must stop the occupation. We must stop the policy of supremacism, racism. We must stop that. We can build a great society here, provided it is democratic and just. Thank you.